Hello guys, just going to go over editing a video file in Premiere Pro, turning that video file into an image sequence that we can use as rotoscope footage and animate with in Maya. So I'm just going to walk you through it super quickly. It should take like 10 minutes or so. Right, so I'm just going to open up a new blank project and default settings. And I'm just going to drag my video file in to the bottom left where I've got my sort of like search box and stuff. So I've got my little video file here, so I'm just going to drag it over to my timeline, and you'll see a preview up here. You'll see a blue line in your timeline, and what we can do is we can drag through, see what we have and what we want to use. So I just want to do one walk cycle, so I'm going to go to maybe not the first foot placement, but maybe the second one. He's got his momentum now and he's going forwards at a standard speed. So I'm going to drag it up to about 6 seconds, and I'm going to press C for the cut tool. It's called razor tool in Premiere. The little button for it's on the left here. It just looks like a razor. I'm just going to click there to cut the image file into 2 elements, and I'm going to drag forwards now 1 step, 2 steps, back to basically the same place we were at the start here. And if you click both, you can see where it's starting, where it's ending, and I'm happy with that now. Right, so press V, you'll go on to selection tool. I'm just going to select this end bit and the first bit and cut those off. So now we're just left with the walk cycle. Now this walk cycle has been slowed down by endless reference, so I don't want to animate this because I don't want to be animating like 300 frames of animation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the rate stretch tool, which is this one here. The shortcut for it is R, and I'm just going to drag one side of this down, probably by about just over half, I'd say. If we play the video now, it's a bit quicker. I'm happy with that. That's my walk cycle. Cool, so I'm good to go to export this now and put this into Maya. So in File, down to Export and Media, the hotkey for this is Control M. So again, File, Export, Media, Export, it's like 5th from the top at the bottom. So when I load this up, you guys might have some different settings. You might have animated GIF or something like this selected. What you want to do is go to Format, and you want to go down to Targa. I recommend using a Targa whenever you can. Maya really likes Targa image files for some reason. They're small, they're high quality, and Maya just has an easy time of reading them. You can use TIFF as well, and I think you might be able to use JPEG, but I'd recommend against it. It increases your file size, and Targa's just overall better. So preset Targa sequence, that should be automatically there. Now a thing you guys want to double check and make sure you're doing is make sure you have a good output name. You want to make sure your file name isn't too long and you don't have any numbers at the end. If you have any numbers at the end, when you make your image sequence, Maya will get really confused with what sequence it should be playing the images. It reads, when you export an image sequence, it adds a number tag at the end of each image to play, to tell Maya which image it should play in first and in order and in the sequence. So I'm just going to call this roto walk, and I'm not going to add any letters, any numbers at the end. So I'm happy with that. And make sure you guys have export as sequence ticked in the basic settings under the video tab. And because I'm animating for a game, I'm going to turn this to 30 frames per second. Default it's on 25. If you're doing animations for film and you're using rotoscope footage for a film animation, you might want to go for 24. I'm animating for games, so I animate in 30 frames per second, so I'm just going to click 30. And there shouldn't be anything else you need to change. I'll leave this up for a second just so you guys can look at it if you want to double check. I haven't changed the height or the width of the image. You can do if you want to. I haven't changed any of the effects or the render quality. It's all just default. So once you've got all this set up, I'm just going to click export. Might take a minute or two. depending on how many images you're exporting in the file size. And what you'll see here now is it has exported the roto walk image sequence, and it's a 50 frame image sequence, and it's added numbers at the end, so 00 to 50, and this basically will just tell Maya which order to play the images in. So now I'm going to go into Maya. I'm just in a blank scene. I've got my character, it's the Unreal mannequin, rigged up, and I've got like a fancy floor tile. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the modeling tab, poly modeling, and make sure you select on polygon plane. I'm just going to drag this up, move it over here, going to make that 90 degrees. I'm not too worried right now about if it's facing the right way. Just because it annoys me, I'm going to delete the subdivision height and width in the inputs in the shapes panel. So at this point I've got my image, I've got my plane I'm going to put my image onto. I'm going to hold right mouse click, go down to assign new material. I'm going to click on Lambert, doesn't really matter, Blinn, Lambert, whatever one you want to use. I'm just going to click now in the attribute editor, should have popped up. Need to make sure you go to Lambert. It might be on plane 3 for some reason. Make sure you click down to Lambert. It should be called Lambert 1 or 2 or something like this. I've just done this a few times, so I'm on 7. So you'll see where it's got colour here. You want to make sure you click on the checkered box. That'll load up a create render node file viewer. Just click on file. And then that'll load up another sort of tab in the attribute editor. And you just want to go down to where it says image name, click on the little folder icon, and then go find your rotoscope footage, wherever that's saved to. I just saved it on my desktop in the roto file. And all I want to do now is just click on the first rotoscope image. I don't need to select on any of the others, just the first one where it says 00. Click open. And now you guys need to make sure you click on use image sequence at the bottom here, just underneath UV tiling mode. Make sure you click use image sequence, have that ticked on. So you should be good to go, and it might not appear for some of you guys, it might still stay like this, so you just need to make sure you have shading mode on. So if you press 6, it will turn that on for you and it should appear. Right, so I'm just going to rotate this around. I'm going to go back to my channel box so I can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to have this as -90. You might need to rotate around, fiddle with the rotational values. Right, so now I've got my image sequence in here. That's perfect. I can start using this now to animate from and use as rotoscope. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my side-on angle. So I'm just pressing space here, going to my cameras, my different camera setups. If these are broken for some reason for you guys, you can just go to panels, orthographic, new, and you can set up new ones. Mine are already working, so I don't need to do that. So I'm just going to go on the side view, and I'm just going to go to frame 1, or frame 0 for me, making sure I'm in 30 FPS, and I'm just going to match up the actor to my character. So at the moment he's a bit too short. Just going to get in the rough place. My feet are switched around, so I'm just going to change that very quickly. Here, like this. I'm not caring too much about how my character's positioned yet. I just want to get the rotoscope matched up. So I'm happy with this back of his left foot matching up to my heel. I'm happy with that. I might increase his width a bit. It's about here. The only issue now I have is his height is off, but I've matched up his foot. So I can go to edge mode. I can just select the top edge and just drag that up with translate mode, and I've matched up his foot height to his head height. I might do it slightly taller, and I'm happy with that now. So if I go through now and scrub through the timeline, you'll see the character is walking now, and it's only a 50 frame animation, so I'm just going to put that to 50, and you should see a walk cycle now. There you go, it's set up, job done. Maybe he's a little bit too far forward, so I'm just going to make an adjustment there and move him back very slightly and get his hips aligned. And I'm happy with that now. So what you can do from this point, now you've got your rotoscope footage set up, you can just move the controllers to match the image behind. Do your first frame, do your last frame, go to the center and do the middle frame. Then you do your in-betweens between that. and then the in-betweens between those, and you'll get a nice animation out of it. So because this image plane has a front-on angle made by endless reference, my camera's died, you can duplicate this image plane, just drag it over, behind, rotate it to 90 degrees, and I'm just going to go to my front-on perspective and go here like this, and that's pretty much, the height's already linked up because I did the side-on perspective, so just get the hips in the right place. So there you go. Now if I go into the third-person perspective, I've got my rotoscope footage set up, my image sequence is working, and I can use this as reference now, the ultimate reference to animate with. And this is, it's basically the poor man's motion capture. So, right, hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Let me know if there's any questions. And yeah, I will talk to you all later.